So you're at home, you're looking for something to read? Got a suggestion for you today. It's a chilling new novel, describes a flu-like pandemic similar to the coronavirus outbreak that we're all going through. The name of the book is called The End of October. It's about a virus that starts in Asia, Indonesia in this case, and very quickly spreads across the world. Pulitzer Prize winning author Lawrence Wright started writing this book, listen to this, at the end of 2017, and he finished it just last summer. Whoa. Lawrence Wright, good morning to you. I can't wait to meet you in person because let me say this about your book. It is terrifying and it is a page turner. And I want the audience to get an idea about what you have to show the similarities. As we said, the deadly virus starts in Indonesia, it goes global. There are supply shortages, check. There are not enough testing, check. There are stay-at-home orders, check. The vice president is in charge of the response, check, check. So this is a question. I know your friends are calling you a prophet. What drew you to this story? What did you see? What do you know, Lawrence Wright?
Well, I was interested as a young reporter. I did some stories out of the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta. And that's when I first got enchanted by the ingenuity and courage of people who work in public health. And so years later, Ridley Scott asked me to write a screenplay about something that causes civilization to collapse. He never made the movie, but it brought me back to the idea that a pandemic, such as the 1918 flu, if it returned in our society, how would we behave? Would we be better prepared than our ancestors were? That was a question that I was putting to the experts I talked to.
Well, this is the thing, because Larry, you're not a doctor, you're not a scientist, because when I was reading, I thought he must have some kind of medical background. What you are is a very, very good, stellar reporter. But can you talk a little bit about your research? Because I read at one point you even talked to your dentist.
Yeah. Well, Gail, I like to work from facts, from real life, and it's more interesting to me to find out what really happened or what would happen. And so, in the case of my dentist, I had a dental operation in the novel, and I interviewed him about how it would be done. You always discover things by talking to people who really know the answers. And so I feel more comfortable writing knowing that that's how it would really go down.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it really went down. And it was so eerie, I have to say, reading the book, because so much of what you wrote in the book is happening now. So when you first heard about COVID-19, number one, when did you hear about it and what did you think when you first heard it?
Well, it was New Year's Eve when the Chinese made that declaration that there was this new virus. And, oftentimes new viruses, especially flu viruses, arise in Asia and especially in China. And it was already, at a dangerous level in China. We didn't know how dangerous at that point, but I was alert to that. And towards the end of January, I was already stocking up on groceries and ordering masks and gloves because I just thought the viruses don't pay any attention to borders. And this one's going to fly across our border as sure as anything. And it wasn't very long before it did get here.
Let's talk about Dr. Henry Parsons, because people haven't read the book. What do you want the audience to know about him? Because, of course, I'm thinking Anthony Fauci, but that's not the case. Just briefly tell us about him.
Well, actually, Gail, Henry Parsons, I borrowed the name from a little-known epidemiologist in the 19th century who is the man who demonstrated that influenza was caused by contagion and not by environmental gases, miasmas. He's been pretty much forgotten even by epidemiologists, but I tip my hat to him. He is a man who has been touched by disease himself. He represents the world that I set this novel in, the world of medical science and these intellectual adventurers, the epidemiologists who charge into places where novel diseases arise and they have no idea what they're dealing with, but their mission is to find out and to stop the spread. And that's the world that Henry comes from.
Yeah, the difference in the book is humanity is showing itself here in what we're going through. There's a loss of humanity in the end of October. I won't give it away, but boy, Lawrence, bravo, bravo. Very well done. Thank you.
Gail.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
The end of October goes. It was my pleasure. The end of October goes on sale next Tuesday, wherever you like to buy your books.